Hey guys, Ronnie Soud here, and today I have Casey Main.
Hello.
She is back. You guys have seen her in some of our past videos where we're always talking about building brand or creating great content. Today we are going to be diving into blogging. Okay, still around today, been around for years. I think more important today than ever before. And Casey is a fantastic person to be talking about this. So you have your own blog and podcasts and all that, but then you also do this for clients,
right? And so I write for a couple. I guess they're considered blogs. It's funny, blogs are now almost like the new online magazine. Like what used to be magazines is now like online sites that are really just like blogs. So I write for a couple of those, and then I do some blogging for clients as well. So yeah, all about the blog.
That's right. And you know, I want to start today because there's still a lot of. I think a blog is a tool that almost every business should have. You know, everyone needs to be creating content today in order to grow their reach and grow their audience, specifically online. I still think that a blog is the best way to do that. However, I think a lot has evolved over time where it used to just be articles or written word. And today that's morphed into having a video, a podcast, and still articles and written word. But what would you say? A blog is more of a home?
Yeah, so I would say a blog is an extension of content, but it's purely educational. So this is not somewhere where you're constantly giving your sales spiel and talking about your own product and your service. It's more like a broader educational element within your industry or whatever your service or product, wherever that lives. And it's a great tool to provide more valuable information to your customers. It positions you as an expert. And then I think it also helps drive a lot more of your content. So especially like if you are delegating out your social media to somebody else, or even you have someone on your team responsible for creating social media, the blog should be where they're pulling that information from. So it's like your website between the content and the blog is this hub of information on your products, your services, as well as your industry. And then information is pulled from that to be in your newsletter, to drive your social media. And so I think that it's like that that longer form of content that then can have a lot of legs in a lot of other areas. And by pulling from that for like social media and stuff, you're keeping your messaging and your tone and the things you're saying consistent versus kind of having some website copy, having a blog, and then your socials are all over the place.
It's kind of like, I mean, could we describe it as like a centralized brand voice? You know, because it's not like, you know, we do not advise doing heavy sales speak on the blog or you know, within a blog post, but rather dealing with the other supporting elements of what you offer.
Yeah, it's a relationship
you had a good
builder.
example of that, right?
Yeah, it builds a relationship with your customers because they're finding value in it, and then the value to you is, again, it's driving that content in other places, but it's also positioning you as an expert within your space.
Right. Now, you know, I think, you know, one, we kind of went through a blog today can be a collection of content, and it could be various types. It could be standard articles, you know, with copy and words in it. It could be a place where you aggregate all of your podcasts, or it could be a place where you aggregate all of your videos, which is what we do here at Soud Marketing. You see my schnoz all over the place in video, and then, hey, why not give it a home up on the blog? But, you know, it works well for us. So I think the content types have expanded past what it was in the years. What I want to ask is for businesses that are intimidated on getting started, I think it's more of a commitment issue thing. What can help them get over that hurdle, you know, in terms of, well, do I always have to think of ideas for this, or how often do I have to do it, or, you know, like sort of, you know, mental organizational hurdles?
Yeah, so I would look at, first of all, I would say it does not have to be long. Like blogs do not have to be long form blogs. People these days don't have real attention spans. If they're going to read something, they want it to be shorter content. As we talked about in a previous video,
Mm-hmm.
they want those like lists and bullet points. So a blog doesn't have to be like a huge like essay or anything like that. So first of all, like, don't be scared of the content. I would even say, depending on the purpose of your blog, you don't even need to be concerned about how frequently you're doing it. If you can commit to posting a blog once a week, great. If that's going to drive your social media content and go out in your newsletter, then maybe you want to do that. If you want to have a blog on your website just to position yourself as an expert, get a little bit of that SEO bump, provide more value to your website visitors, then just don't have a date associated with them. And people go and they look and they just see all that content. It doesn't necessarily matter that you haven't posted a blog in a month or two. So I think, there are ways to start a blog without feeling like you've got to stick to this like frequency and amount of content. And then I think a great place to start is in your website copy, like just in your copy that explains what you do. This is where like a blog can kind of take a higher level of like, why is that beneficial? So like kind of take the concept and go a level up, or like, how does that work? So like an example, I was talking to a fitness company recently, and they have an at-home fitness product. And so they've done a bunch of workout videos of using this product. So, okay, we can take those videos and create blogs out of them. Not blogs about what the workout is. Why is it effective? Like, what is it doing to your body? So I think you can take kind of the what and how of your business and kind of get into the why it's beneficial, or why it works, or why it matters in the blog. So it's like you've got the content there. It's just a matter of identifying it.
Sure. I also like using a blog. Personally, I like using a blog for supporting but related information, right? So, a good example, I think two good examples of this is one, so, what do I actually sell here at Sound Marketing? Well, it's the ad campaigns, right? But I know that the ad campaigns, sort of hedge on the quality of the content in order to be successful to a certain degree. So I put out a lot of content, I put out a lot of videos about improving your website content, your landing pages, so on and so forth. Because if I can educate people about improving those other areas, then the ad campaigns that they're running are going to improve as a result of that. So, I use it as like a supporting educational element to the other things that I offer.
Right, but then it also drives a lot of the additional content. So like you'll do a video, I then transcribe it into a blog, or kind of add to it or change it to be in blog form. And then a lot of the social media posts, those messages are pulled directly from the blog. So it all stems from your voice and your thoughts, which is important in marketing your agency, and it remains consistent. So I think a blog is a great place to start with content, and then you can get so much more content out of it. So you're producing a lot of content, but it wasn't quite as time consuming for whoever may be involved in that like initial long form piece.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So that's that's kind of a really good window into our 1-2 punch here. We make a good amount of videos, and then Casey just sort of laid out how we get those up on the blog, and then how she also distributes them as messages on all the social channels. The distribution of that is so important. And, I think it's something that you need to think about before you start making up what all of your blog topics are going to be, which is, where are we going to go and hunt and distribute this message out to and build an audience? Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Is it YouTube? LinkedIn, so on and so forth. And, the distribution and redistribution of your content, I think, is equally as important as having the content in the first place, because if no one sees it, it will not have much value.
Right.
So one thing that I do want to segue into is, I think, organizing ideas. We've kind of hinted on this, but I think this is the big intimidation factor of, We talked about how frequent you have to do it, and I think that's a personal thing, right? In a previous video, I shared with how I batch my video content every single Friday. I just do a whole bunch. So you have to think about the frequency, and then that, I think, will also help you know how many ideas you have to come up with on a consistent basis.
Right. And I think in terms of kind of how to formulate those thoughts, like if you look at a lot of the content that's out there right now, so like listicles work really well. So 5 ways to whatever, 10 things that XYZ. So if you think in terms of, okay, how can I create some content around what we do, but in like a list form, that's really valuable. Anything that starts with like how or why, like those are great topics. So it's looking at your industry and then trying to think of them in kind of processes that you can put as lists, answering hows, answering whys. And then another thing that is working really well right now is like these personal experience essay type things that get very, very, very specific. So, maybe it's, I started drinking mushroom coffee every day for a week, and I no longer have that afternoon crash or whatever it is. Like it's kind of extended testimonials, which you could use potentially from customers, like which is a great tool for a blog because you're getting getting blog content and it's testimonial content. So I think there's a lot you can do with it now, and it comes back to like, which is my big thing with content. You just want your customers or your potential customers to see themselves in the writing. It's answering a question they have. It's alleviating a fear they have. It's showing them they're not alone in their experience because someone else has experienced it. So there's really a ton you can do with blogging, and how or where you want to go with that depends on your overall marketing strategy and how you're going to be using the blog and like what you hope to accomplish with it.
That's an awesome example. What did you call that? The story?
Oh, like a personal experience?
Yeah, the personal experience story. So that's something that we do. So if you're in the business to business space, but you can't actually name your clients, don't be afraid to still tell the story, but just don't give the business or the brand name. Give your experience about working within that genre. If it's like how you helped a small gym grow its membership base, right? So on and so forth. And so that's really great content to share out there. It's so targeted that, all of the other gym owners are going to pay attention to it. And that's how, you leverage the distribution of that content up on social with getting the audience to actually read your post, which is up on your site, and then make a connection with you. Like, hey, this guy helped this group of people and I'm just like them.
Right, and then you can have, so then if you're going to use your blog to serve as landing pages for certain ads, then that's an ad campaign that targets people like that individual, like that personal experience. And so then that's an interesting blog that ties in beautifully with a strategy for actually driving traffic to your site and converting sales, because now you're driving people like that person or like that business to a page that gives an example, and then I just think that ties really well together.
Yeah, no, I think so too. So anything else with blogging?
No, I would just, my big thing is it's not a sales tool, it is an educational tool. So just be educational, be informative. You can get fun with it, be interesting. It can be a place to show some more personality. But just don't only talk about your products or services, because then that's not an informative, engaging blog. Yeah,
for sure. I think educate, engage, build your audience. I mean, that's the absolute best way that I've always seen to reach more new people and nurture them until they do cross that line and become customers with you. So guys, if you have any questions about blogging or developing content for a blog or how to distribute that content, let us know in the comments below. We're happy to reach out and talk with you extensively about that. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.